Hey, thanks. Don't clap yet. All right, so Spencer showed me the speaker list, and my guess is that everybody else is going to make really important sounding statements with charts and graphs and shit for the rest of the conference. So I'm just going to have a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys are okay with that. So first thing I want to do is talk a little bit about hackers. So any other hackers here? Just me? Couple in the back? Good. All right. So this is a hotel room, kind of like the one I'm staying in here. It's a little bit nicer here. Boring place to hang out, but that TV is not like the TV in your house. That TV is a node on a network with all the other TVs in the hotel. So I can control it with a little USB infrared transceiver. I can send codes from my computer that the TV is not expecting, codes the remote in the room can't send. So what? Well, I can watch movies for free. I can play games for free, big deal. But I can not only do this for my TV in my hotel room, I can control your TV in your hotel room. So I get to decide if you're watching Disney or porn tonight. And if there's these online checkout things, yeah, who wants to vote? Let's take a poll. I can watch you put your credit card number in and this sort of thing. If there's a keyboard hooked up and you can surf the web, I can watch you do that. People do really dumb shit on their hotel TVs. I like this one. I don't know if you can see these slides. Funds transfer. $13 million funds transfer. This is just screenshots we took at hotels of people surfing the web on their hotel TV. So if you guys want to come party in my room after no. All right. I worked on a bunch of projects related to hacking stuff. In wireless networks, we used to write software to crack the encryption on wireless networks. One of the things we did is we built this robot called the HackerBot, which can drive around and find Wi-Fi users, drive up to them, and show them their passwords on the screen, which we thought was good for a laugh. And one of the things we learned from that, because as hackers, we're always trying to show off these security problems and get people to recognize that the sky is falling, and mostly we get ignored. This thing, we figured out, was wildly mediagenic. Everybody wanted to put it on TV. Even though it was, a nefarious hacker robot stealing your passwords, people thought it was cute. And so it got a lot more attention for these security problems. And so we tried variations on that. We made the pistol version of the same thing. This is for your long-range password sniffing action. Another project I worked on with Ben Laurie, another notorious computer hacker. We tried to show what passive surveillance is. So this is a map of a conference called the Computers, Freedom, and Privacy Conference. So I put a computer in each room logging all the Bluetooth traffic. So as anybody came by with their phones and laptops and things, it would just put an entry in the database so that I could print out a map like this for each person at the conference. So this is the map for Kim Cameron, the chief privacy architect at Microsoft. Unbeknownst to him, I know, which sessions he went to, when he got bored, went downstairs to go to the bathroom, came back up. I can correlate this to all the other people at the conference, figure out who he hangs out with. And this is just from the Bluetooth in his phone. We could do the same sort of thing with GSM. We could do it with the RFIDs and credit cards and passports and things. Just unintended side effects of some of these technologies. I think we could come up with a marketing program based on that. But so some cool hackers. This buddy of ours, Sammy, was trying to figure out how to meet chicks on MySpace. Anybody here try to meet chicks on MySpace? All right. Well, MySpace is kind of like Facebook for your grandparents. Basically, the idea is you have a page that talks about you, and it shows who your friends are. And if you have a bunch of friends, then you seem cool. Sammy didn't have any friends at all, which makes you seem really creepy. So he fixed this by writing a little bit of code that he put on his page so that whenever you look at his page, it would just automatically add you as his friend. and skip the whole "is Sammy really your friend" protocol. And then it would change your page to say that Sammy is my hero. And then it would copy the code onto your page as well, so that whenever anybody looked at your page, it would automatically add them as Sammy's friend too. This worked great. In under 24 hours, Sammy had over 1 million friends on MySpace. He ended up serving 3 years probation for that. Somehow it didn't occur to MySpace they should hire him, and if they had, maybe they'd still be around. And another buddy of ours, Christopher Abad, was working on meeting chicks on MySpace and having spotty results. So what Abad did is he took the pages of girls he dated and liked, stuck them into a spam filter as legitimate email. Pages from girls he dated and did not like, fed them in as spam. And you train the artificial intelligence system that way. Normally you train it on real email, right? And then he fed it all the profiles from MySpace and out spits girls you might like to date, right? This is classic repurposing of a technology that it wasn't intended for, right? He's using a spam filter for dating. I think there should be, a few startups doing spam dating, and nobody's doing it yet. So, for your projects as well, you might want to, consider spam filters. There's a reason I'm telling you about these guys. So, I feel like I know a lot of people in the room have heard my jokes before, but you guys should just laugh too to help things along. So these guys have a different mindset than most people do, right? Hackers think about the world in different ways. One way to illustrate that is if you get a new gadget, you might show it to your mom or show it to your friends. They might ask you, well, what does this do? And you would explain very clearly, it's a phone, dumb shit. Oh, it's a phone, I got it. But the important thing for hackers is that the question is totally different. The question is, what can I make this do? And they're going to take all the screws out of the back, crack it open, break it into a lot of little pieces, and then we're going to figure out what we can build from the rubble, right? That's discovery. That process is where you get all your new inventions. That's where you get new technologies. That's the very first step. And if we skip that step, then we get more of the same shit that we had last year. And so the reason these guys are really important is because they're violating the warranty before they ever get home from the store. They're just like always interacting with the world in a different way, and they're discovering what's possible. You should all go back to wherever you came from, go find the hackers that are in the security department, extract them and put them in product development. Anybody use keys like this to open your car? Bloop. Yeah. Kids these days will cruise through a Walmart parking lot clicking open, 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 bloop. Eventually you find some other car that's kind of like yours, different color, with the same key code. And that's because car manufacturers haven't figured out that they're shipping a PC on wheels, right? It's not just a car anymore. And everybody's product is now a PC on wheels. Your phone is a PC. Your television is a PC. Everything that you own ultimately will get to be a PC because that's a way to add a lot of functionality into something, right? But when you do that, you inherit a lot of the problems from PCs. And we know some of these problems. It turns out the, random numbers that you put in these things are free, and you can make really big ones for free, but car manufacturers haven't figured that out, so they're reusing the same codes the way they always did with keys. Well, one manufacturer's key, we figured out how to manipulate it so that we can open every car from that manufacturer, which I think would be really exciting to drive by the dealership and just get them all at once. Someday I'll have that video for you. But the point is, they don't have system update. Right? What are they going to do? Roll them all into the dealership and swap out some part like they always do? So we have had those problems for decades with PCs, and we figured out how to play this little war of escalation and deal with them. And whatever business you're in, you might want to keep in mind that you're essentially inheriting some of these problems and features. Anybody here use locks like this on your front door? No? They're popular in America. So who's learned to pick locks? with tools like this. Gary, nice. Okay. It's a pain in the ass, I'll just tell you. You stick these little tools in there and finick with them, and it takes a lot of finesse, and you kind of need OCD. That didn't work for me. So I'm going to teach you the easy way. So this is a Schlage lock. It's statistically on like half of the doors in America. And this is a key that is the right brand, but it's not cut properly. It won't turn the lock. But I modified it. I just smacked that a few times. There we go. I just picked a lock. It's really easy. For the ADD kids, yeah, thanks. Well, what you should clap is when you watch the YouTube videos of 11-year-old girls teaching you how to do this. It's a technique called bump key, and if you just look online, you'll learn how to do it. It's totally easy, and you'll impress all your friends. So, who uses these USB thumb drives to print my Word document for me? Yeah, okay. It's like the new floppy disk, right? They're loads of fun. Mine's kind of like yours, except that while you're printing my Word document, magically and invisibly in the background, it's making a handy backup of your documents folder, your browser history and cookies, the registry, all your passwords. They just go right in here in a little invisible folder. In case you ever need them, I might have a backup for you. I like to print like Cisco on the back and just sprinkle these around at conferences. Free swag. So who uses credit cards? I know we're in Europe, but you guys came from everywhere. Well, if you're at all like me, you got a new credit card in the mail in the last few years with this letter explaining how it was your new secure credit card. So mine came in the mail, and I got kind of excited because I don't usually get things in the mail that claim to be secure. And I knew a thing or two about how these things work. They have RFID tags in them, and I figured there's an encryption system on it, and we were going to crack the crypto because we've done that kind of thing before. And so one of the things we did is we bought a bunch of RFID gear on the internet so that we could work on this. One of the things I bought was this reader for $8 on eBay. It's like the ones in taxi cabs in New York or on the counter at Starbucks. Anybody have one of these fancy new credit cards? They're wireless. You just wave them over the reader. Bring it on up here. Come here. Come on up. Come on up. This will be fun, I promise. No volunteers. Can you guys just peer pressure one of these people into bringing their card up so we can have some fun? Come on, don't be. This is for posterity. Should we get one?
You did enter your bank account before you did this, didn't you?
All right, great. All right, stick that in your pocket. It's more fun if it's in your pocket. It's better if it's in your back pocket. Okay, hold on, I know you guys all use Python for your PowerPoint presentations too. Okay. All right, so, shit, which pocket did she put it in? This works better if I... Is it in the front pocket? Let me see your card. Oh, there we go. Beep. Did you hear the beep? Yeah. If you hear a beep, you know a hacker is coming to get your credit card number. What happened? Shit, incompatible card. All right, let me see what you got there. This is a problem with hackers. We have no QA department. Take the mic off the stand. So it beeped, but I didn't get a number off it. Let me see. Blink. Well, shit. No, yeah, I'm memorizing it. I got so many credit cards. Okay, we'll steal my credit card just, so you guys can... So it's in my back pocket. Beep. Here, listen. Shit, okay, hold on. We're going to restart this crap. God. This is the problem with hackers. We have... we get it working once and then we lose interest. Okay, listen for the beep. Beep. Well, I swear this worked before. Oh, you have to plug in this part right here. Okay, you can see my mom calls me Paul. This is my expired American Express card. It turns out there's no crypto at all. The hard part was making this complicated cable that you saw let me down. There's nothing secure about it. Your card is broadcasting your credit card number to anyone who will listen for it, right? So what's the point of this? Well, it means that you can take this thing and just go hang out at Starbucks in the line and, you know, beep. No, what it means is, there's a really important lesson here. The credit card industry doesn't give a shit about you or security, right? What they care about is risk management. This is not a security problem, it's a risk management problem. And they've managed the risk, right? What happens when I steal your credit card? Well, I go shopping on victoriassecret.com and I get new stuff in the mail. You get a statement that says you went shopping and you didn't get anything in the mail, so you call your bank and complain and say, hey, I didn't buy anything from Victoria's Secret. They say, no problem, fraudulent charge, we'll give you your money back. Your bank calls Victoria's Secret Bank and says, hey, give us the money back. No problem, done. Victoria's Secret Bank, their bank calls the merchant and says, hey, fraudulent charge, give us the money back. So what happened? Well, all of the fraud, all the cost of fraud got pushed onto the merchant. You didn't lose any money, your bank didn't lose any money, their bank didn't lose any money, Visa didn't lose any money. The merchant lost the product, what they got paid for it, a chargeback fee of usually $25 for every fraudulent transaction, and the transaction fee. So, you know, that means they're charging you more for everything, but it's managed in a way that nobody actually cares whether it's secure or not. Billions of dollars a year in fraud? No problem. We're making money. Keep on spending. That's awesome for you guys. It means that there's hope. You're never going to make things secure. So try and figure out how to classify your problem as a risk management problem. Okay, that was supposed to go by much faster. That's my subliminal marketing campaign. Okay. All right, so this gets pretty exciting. I know you can't read that from so far away, but this is a protocol diagram for SSL. That's the encryption system in your browser that encrypts your credit card when you send it to Victoria's Secret or Amazon. Totally boring slide, I know. But the point is, hackers will attack every point in this protocol, right? It's a complicated crypto protocol back and forth with the server. Hackers will send a date from the future. What happens if I send 2 responses instead of 1? What happens if I send a 0 instead of a 1? Well, all of these are things that might cause the server to break. When you're writing software, when you're building products, you build them to do what they're supposed to do. You don't think about all the things they're not supposed to do, and that's what hackers are doing for you. And so what it means is if I can get that protocol to break in some fashion, maybe I can get it to break in some other fashion, like a fashion that gives me your credit card number, for example. This is even more boring. This is what SSL looks like to a hacker. Hexadecimal. Anybody? Never mind. So this is an Anopheles stephensi mosquito. It's carrying malaria. These guys kill about 1 million people a year in Africa, half of whom are kids under 5. And this is a protocol diagram for malaria. It spends part of its life cycle in a human, part of its life in a mosquito. It's got a complicated life cycle. And what I'm doing in the lab is hiring hackers. Why? Have you figured it out? I need to have minds that can figure out how to attack every point in that protocol. We need to find ways to attack malaria so that we can eradicate it once and for all. The old-fashioned way is spraying chemicals that kill everything and hope some of the good stuff comes back. This is an actual ad from like the 30s or 40s where we were teaching kids to sing about DDT, so they would think it was friendly. We managed to eradicate malaria from the US and the Southwest, and we eradicated malaria from Southern Europe as well, but we didn't finish the job, and so Africa, being really big and really neglected, still has a lot of problems with malaria. So this is something we can solve in our lifetime. I'm sure you guys have been appraised of that, but we need some new tools to do it. DDT isn't enough in this case. So we started working on that in our lab. Bill Gates asked us to work on inventing new ways of going after malaria, so we've got some. One of the things we do, which might be a little bit relevant for some folks here, is we do computational modeling work. So this is a cluster of 5,000 core machine that we built in our lab to run computational models. And we do that for the transmission of diseases in Africa, for epidemiological modeling work. And we do that for malaria. We have the most complex model on Earth now. And what we do is we model in a Monte Carlo simulation, coincidentally, rainfall, climate, travel of humans, anything that can affect the transmission of the disease. And it's not a simplistic algorithmic model like males 18 to 25 use this many condoms in a year. What we do is we model every individual person. We model every pixel of Africa. This is Madagascar, and you can see cases of malaria as they rise in the rainy and warm season. And in the winter, you can see they disappear almost completely, right? Well, the point of this model is that we can test our interventions thousands of times in software before we ever do it in the real world. We can see what happens when we spray some DDT here, deploy some bed nets there, and we can try that over and over again until we get it right, until we have a real strong sense that our campaign is going to work. Monte Carlo simulations are the kind of thing that we've never really been able to do until recently. Von Neumann invented this stuff. What ended up happening is we needed a lot more computational resources. 5 or 10 years ago, it would have been laughable. Now, it's so cheap. Computation is essentially free. And we can afford to do these kinds of models for everything. For you guys, what it means is it's going to affect every business that you're in, I guarantee it. And the reason is we can make a model that models the behavior of every human on Earth. Why would you have a marketing campaign for males 18 to 25 when you can have a marketing campaign for me? And a different one for Gary and a different one for each person, right? That's targeted at them, that knows about them. That's what's going to be possible when you start deploying this kind of computation to your problems. I just threw this slide in today because I think this is fascinating shit. That's obviously a shape of Africa. This shows subsea fiber deployments in Africa. And what you can't see because the screen is small is it shows each of the subsea fiber that's going around Africa putting internet into that country, right? And for each one of those lines, I have the date there that it was deployed. And if you add them up, what you can see is that over the last year, the fiber we've brought online has brought Africa's internet capacity up more than an order of magnitude. What it means is they've basically been on dial-up until this year. The entire country was hanging off of one little moose trail, right? Sorry, continent. Yeah, the entire continent. And who even knows how many countries there might be in there? Not to mention all the people. So the point is, we've got fat fiber going in there now. We've gone from like, call it 1 terabit to 15 or 20 terabits of internet. I mean, these people just this year are about to make the jump on to really join you on the internet. I think this has just vast implications for everything. And since you've been on the internet for a while, you are prescient. You can see where they're going in a lot of ways. You know what's going to happen. And well, I don't know, what is there, 1 billion people there that are going to join us? Okay, so one of the inventions we came up with that we're a little more notorious for in the lab is this machine that finds mosquitoes flying around in the sky and shoots them down with laser beams, which we thought was really funny. So we built it. So this thing, you can see, We don't need audio for this. You can see we're tracking mosquitoes in real time. And what we do is we aim a laser at them to sample their wing beat frequency. And that's enough to tell us this is a mosquito, it's Anopheles stephensi, it's female, and therefore a valid target, and we shoot it down with a lethal laser, right? This is some fascinating shit for a number of reasons. One is everyone wants to kill mosquitoes. That's exciting. This is what they look like when they're flying. It turns out we have this badass video camera that can shoot 1 million frames a second that costs more than a Ferrari. So we started filming mosquitoes. And it turns out we don't actually understand why they fly. That's not Bernoulli effect. Their wings are too small. They're like swimming in air or something. Humans don't understand lots of things. So this starts to get interesting, though. Watch this. So that guy just got lit up with an ultraviolet laser, and he's not coming back. Here we just vaporized his wing, or her wing, I should say. The males don't carry malaria, so we don't bother shooting them. Yeah, smoking. This is before we tuned the laser, and we kind of just sent a whole bug up in smoke. So this is deeply satisfying stuff, and not even PETA comes to save the mosquitoes. They're like the universal enemy. Thanks. So the point is, this is really important. Moore's law has made it practical for us to compute the value of the life of every individual bug before we shoot it, right? Instead of spraying chemicals that kill everything, we let the males live. They can be, we leave the harmless bees and butterflies to do their thing, and we only shoot the mosquitoes that are carrying malaria. This is worth a lot. We can do this for so many things. I can't beat you over the head enough with computation. This is a way to cheat at almost everything. Use the computation. So our idea is that we would build this thing onto fence posts every 100 meters or so around a building or around a village. As mosquitoes fly towards humans at dusk, we would shoot them down. You might also want to protect crops this way. It's an organic photonic pesticide, right? We can shoot crops that are, we can shoot the pests that are, we're working on actually going after one that has wiped out 2/3 of the orange groves in Florida because it's a way of being selective about our target, right? So all this happens at the Intellectual Ventures Lab. As Spencer was saying, you know, Nathan Myhrvold got us going on this stuff. The humanitarian projects I described are things that Bill Gates asked us to do. Basically, the trick is we bought one of every tool in the world, and we hired one of every kind of scientist, stuck them all under one roof, tossed a few hackers in for character, and what we do is we invent stuff, and we try to take on the biggest problems we can find, and we just specialize in invention. And we started this 5 years ago. We now have like 3 buildings and 100 people working on it, and some pretty cool inventions. One of our projects is a culinary sciences team working on showing the science of cooking and inventions around cooking. And they spent the last 5 years developing this 2,400-page cookbook on the science of cooking. And it weighs like 40 pounds, but there's lessons in there on thermal energy transfer that you can read and learn about so that chefs can understand what's actually going on in cooking processes, right? And we did all these cutaway shots where we cut kitchen tools in half in the shop and then tried to show how things actually work. And you can learn a lot from this book, but we finally published it this year. It's gargantuan. No one will ever make a cookbook this expensive again. But if you're interested in food at all, there's an amazing amount to learn from that. One of the projects we worked on was trying to show ways to reverse the effects of global warming in case we need some time to, you know, migrate off of these polluting fuels we use. So this is one that mimics a natural phenomenon. When volcanoes erupt, they often spit sulfur dioxide up into the stratosphere where it floats around for a while, reflecting a little bit of sunlight and cooling the earth. We saw this really well in '92. A volcano called Pinatubo in the Philippines erupted. It brought Earth's temperature down for about a year by about 1 degree. So this invention is a hose to the stratosphere. And we pump sulfur dioxide up there, aerosolize it, just a little bit of it, and reflect a little bit of sunlight. This isn't a cure for global warming, but it's a way to buy us some time if we don't manage to, curb emissions fast enough. And that doesn't seem to be going very well. So what we think is we should research some of these ideas and come up with a plan C just in case. And so this is kind of a plan C. And what we think is that, some of these ideas, like this one, are actually really cheap. One of these hoses in the Arctic region, we believe, should be enough to reduce Arctic ice, or restore Arctic ice conditions back to pre-industrial levels, right? These are things that don't cost trillions of dollars or billions of dollars. It's like tens of millions or something, right? So this is climate models that show, I don't know if you can see, but on the left, the pink is what Arctic ice should be. The blue is what it is today. On the right, it shows what would happen if we deployed one of these hoses in the Arctic region as a way of reversing some of those effects. This is an invention we came up with to solve this problem we have right now. If you put a satellite dish in an airplane, you have to mechanically gimbal it. If you put it on a car, you have to mechanically gimbal it to aim at a satellite. That's big and heavy and expensive. So we came up with this metamaterials-based antenna that's a flat panel manufactured like a printed circuit board, and we can electronically steer the beam. So instead of hundreds of pounds and thousands of dollars, it's like a few bucks. We can put it on a car, put it on a plane, put it on the back of a laptop, and we can aim the beam right at a satellite or right at a tower and track it. This is huge for the world because it means we now have a cheap way of bringing fast wireless to everyone, right? The reason your iPhone gets slow when everybody gets the new iPhone is because it has an omnidirectional antenna that raises the noise floor for everyone around you. And everybody else in the room is making noise for me right now, so my phone gets slow. And that's because you're all broadcasting noise in every direction, hoping some of it lands on a tower somewhere. So a technology like this gives us the ability to aim the beam right at a tower, and we can all do that, and we can start getting, gigabit wireless to everyone all the time. This is just a technical illustration of how that works. Last thing I was going to show you today, another big problem that humanity has that we took on is these stainless steel casks contain depleted uranium left over from today's nuclear fuel enrichment programs. So what happens is we dig uranium out of the ground, we put it through this complex enrichment process to make a fissionable material, so enriched uranium. And we get about 3% of the energy out. The other 97% goes in these stainless steel casks. They sit in stockpiles on the surface of the earth. This is a photo of a stockpile in Kentucky. 700,000 metric tons of depleted uranium sitting there until kingdom come. We have no plan for what to do with it. The other 3% of the energy, we form into fuel rods. We put those in today's reactors. We burn them. We get about 5% of that energy out. And then we take those very dangerous fuel rods and we put them in a swimming pool next to the reactor and hope that nothing ever touches them ever again because we don't have a plan for what to do with it. It's very dangerous shit. So there's lots of problems with today's reactors. So we looked at this and decided to invent a new reactor technology that's powered by nuclear waste. So in our reactor, what happens is we take that depleted uranium from the stockpile, we clad it and make fuel rods that we put in our reactor. It's unenriched. And then what happens is we start a nuclear reaction at one end. That creates a self-sustaining fission reaction that enriches the fuel inside the reactor and then burns the fuel inside the reactor. And so this works like a candle. It burns from one end to the other in our design over the course of 60 years. The red part is what's enriched, right? So at any given moment, there's not a critical mass of enriched fuel. You don't need an enrichment plant for every reactor like we do now. That solves some of your proliferation problem of fuel being stolen to make bombs. And it's a safe reactor design with no moving parts. This is the kind of thing that you know, we're hoping to develop that can have a huge impact. We calculate with that one stockpile, there's enough fuel to power, in our reactors, to power the entire planet, including growth, for the next 1,000 years. So all this is, you know, like I said, just invention projects we're working on, and that's all I had to show you guys today. So I'll take questions.